My boys used to be convinced that Mike had eyes in the back of his head. My I children were convinced that their stepdad, who was a 30-year school teacher, he could read their minds, you know, and they were like, I said, I have eyes in the back of my head, and the youngest one went up there and dug around in his hair looking for those eyes.
We'll call to order the Board of Mayor and Alder meeting for the town of Unicoi, Aldermen meeting for the town of Unicoi for March 15th, 2021. We're going to get the technology operating, and we're about, okay. All right, invocation. We have volunteer? Invocation. Andy, how about invocation? Will you do it?
No,
okay, I'm gonna do the invocation, then we'll do the pledge. Lord, we're grateful for the opportunity to be here. It really is a privilege to work on town business and serve the constituents in our town. And we're grateful for the day we've had. It's been busy, very productive, and we pray that you would help us to as well be productive and respectful as the meeting goes on this evening, and that we operate in a fashion that's very honoring and pleasing to you. And it's all these things in Christ's name. Flag back there. Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Oh, and he saluted you. Okay. Ms. Kessler, would you call the roll, please?
Yes. Alderman Bennett. Here. Alderman Radford. Here. Alderman Ray. Here. Vice Mayor Cooper.
Here.
Mayor Boyd.
Here. Okay, board, we want to consider approval of last month's minutes. If you've had an opportunity to read them and review them, I'll entertain a motion. Second. A motion and a second. Any comments or questions about the minutes? All right, Ms. Kessler, would you call for a vote?
Alderman Bennett.
Yes.
Alderman Radford.
Yes.
Alderman Ray.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cooper.
Yes.
Mayor Boyd.
Yes. Okay, we're going to open up the meeting to citizen comments. I didn't bring our timer. Anybody operate with a timer over that way? Okay, timer, do you want me? Okay. 2 minutes? 2 minutes. Okay. If a citizen would like to speak and use those 2 minutes, you are welcome to. I ask you to stand, ask you to state your name and address, and then feel free to share your comments or concerns. As long as it's not something we have on the agenda as we move along. Now is your opportunity for citizens to speak. Any citizen in the room wanting to speak? No, so everything's quiet, right? Okay, quiet bunch tonight. Were there any other comments submitted, any other manner?
No.
Is there anyone who is joining our meeting electronically that would like to make a comment and address the board? Raise your hand and Miss Ashley will identify you. Or just unmute and start talking. No comments from anyone electronically. Okay, thank you. Old business, there is none. Unfinished business, none. New business, we are going to give consideration to ordinance 2021-285, an ordinance to regulate the speed limit on Ridgewood Road, which is a road within the town of Unicoi that apparently has created some likelihood of accident and some accidents. It has a sharp curve in it, it's narrow, And so we have here the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the town of Unicoi is interested in establishing safe limits of speed within the town. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen that in the town of Unicoi, that the speed limit on Ridgewood Road within the town of Unicoi shall be 15 miles per hour. And this ordinance shall take effect from and after its final passage, the public welfare requiring it. I think we had a visit in town hall and there was some documentation about this road. You are in agreement as well?
It's a small little one-lane road. It's not posted. Speed limit's 30 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Somebody going 30 miles per hour on that road could potentially be dangerous.
Okay. So the request has been to reduce that road to 15 miles an hour.
Andy, do you care to clarify where that's located so that we all understand what we're
It's off
talking
of,
about?
you get Springbrook, cuts off Springbrook. Goes off, it gets off of Springbrook, it's off of Beachbrook.
Is it Bartlett?
Barnett King.
Okay.
It's up there, it's one of those roads off of Barnett King.
Thank you.
Okay, for safety purposes, it's reasonable to reduce the speed. All right, anyone, are you willing to, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion for approval.
Okay, a second?
Second.
Okay, first, we got a motion and a second, we can discuss. You have a question?
Has any of the citizens that live on this road commented about this?
They have come into town hall with photographs of near misses.
There was actually an accident.
That was me. I would like to see a 10 on there. The postal workers and the UPS and FedEx is abusing that road as a speedway. If they have no stops, they just fly down that road. There's video footage of this. And it needs to be radars and that's set up so they can stop that from happening. There's a 4-year-old child on that road that could be harmed if they was out the road.
Or even if you lose the roadway and go into the yard,
Yeah.
stuff happens.
Well, I-
Yeah, when you're going too fast,
Yeah.
that's easy to
Because
happen.
Like, you can go there if we get like speed enforcement or something, you hit somebody going 30 miles per hour, don't violate the speed limit. But that's fine.
Mhm,
I mean, some roads that are 2-lane road are 20 miles per hour
mhm.
through here. I mean, I just,
Do you want to go with 15 and enforce 15 for a little bit and increase awareness and focus on increasing the awareness on that road and then follow up from there? Keep people safe? Okay.
Consider putting speed brakes up there.
There's some controversy about speed slower downers. I don't think it's just called speed bumps anymore. Speed slower downers. Aren't there?
The preferred language now is traffic calming devices.
Traffic
because-
calm. I like speed slower downer better.
And-
Speed table.
And-
Speed calming device.
Yeah, another part of that history on the utilization of those is there's this Tennessee Supreme Court case that says the only purpose for that kind of device is to slow cars down. And so if someone's car is damaged, then you're responsible. So that's how we moved from speed bumps or speed humps to a different type of construction that's more flat, like the speed table or traffic calming, was to try to, you don't want to hurt somebody's car either.
Right.
You just want to slow down the traffic a little bit, and all that area is controversial. You're exactly right.
Okay.
Well, this run through the planning commission, does it have to be somebody,
Pardon me?
does this have to be run through the planning commission first?
No.
Does not.
No, this is a police type of action. It's not zoning.
And unless otherwise posted, are we not 30 miles an hour?
yes.
Okay, the ordinance has 35 in it, so we need to change that to 30.
It is 35.
Oh, I thought it was 30.
It's 30. What it says.
35 on our code. Our
Well,
code
the
says
sign-
35.
the sign-
Right. Our signage, yeah,
The
doesn't
sign
say
says
that.
30.
We'll have to go back and fix that too.
Okay, so what's the motion now?
The motion is to approve this
Okay,
as is, and with further observation, if we need to rethink it or reconsider, we can bring it back.
but then 2 months, 60 days, and 90, fine.
It's a few, go back
Since we have.
a couple of months.
I know we got to look past that, yeah.
So we have that.
Well, let's go for a month.
Okay.
Let's see what happens in a month.
Okay.
You get out, see what you can do in a month, then we have to look at it again in a month, so we'll have to get a second meeting.
Okay.
Deal?
Well, he can't enforce it until the
Until the
second
second
reading.
That's right.
Sorry.
We can go to spec observation.
Have you had any chance to talk to any of these offenders?
We went out there several
It's
times. We've
against
actually,
the law
we've been
now.
having problems, not just in that area, but other problems with FedEx drivers and UPS. And we wrote, or we've talked and made several contacts with FedEx and UPS and advised them to make sure they're getting their drivers slowed down. And from what I can tell, for the most part, they've slowed down. I don't know particularly about that road yet, but I know the other places we haven't had more complaints.
All right, so we're gonna, this will go again for a second reading in April, so by April, May, June, we should have a pretty good idea. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, May, June, April, May, June. Okay, are we good? We'll look at it in June. Motion to approve in a second. Are we ready to vote?
Question?
Okay, go for it. That is Kessler. Oh, you have a question?
No, no, call.
Yeah, let's vote.
Previous vote, previous question.
We're ready to vote.
Alderman Bennett,
Yes.
Alderman Radford,
Yes.
Alderman Ray,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cooper,
Yes.
Mayor Bullen.
Yes. Okay, the next new business is ordinance 2021-286. This is a noise ordinance. This is again an ordinance for consideration, speaking of Illinois, an ordinance for consideration of some guidelines to reduce nuisance noise. I think this isn't in reaction to anything that has been going on or has been happening. It is proactive as we move forward in the town. There is possibility of an amphitheater being built back here. Neighbors in this area aren't gonna want, music being played until all hours of the night. I have a neighbor that decides to go out at night and shoot a gun, like an AR-15, that jolts me out of bed. I would appreciate if we would not be able to do that. We've talked about, not bring up a bad subject, I'm not gonna think any words, but an industry that wants to operate the loud vehicles. There's a lot of things that can go on in the town that can become a noise nuisance. And barking dogs, I don't know that we're gonna deal a whole lot with barking dogs, but it was more a fighting. I've woken up to neighbors fighting. Everybody's had some kind of experience. Donkeys neighing, I've woken up to donkeys neighing.
It happened.
Anyway, nothing. I'm just saying. I'm just looking at the numbers. No, anyway. So it's more of a proactive thing to be able to protect citizens when they're having an issue. With this ordinance, I would never expect our law enforcement employees or staff to be out looking for somebody violating this ordinance. It would only be a response with a complaint. If there was a complaint, it gives our code enforcement, law enforcement teeth to be able to do something. It's not gonna go out looking for it. If you're in your backyard and having a good time and your neighbors don't care, we don't care. It's just proactive if there's an issue. Okay, let's make complaints. Does that make sense? Everybody, that's how this came up. We need a motion and a second to discuss. Is there a motion? Calling once again for a motion. I was just kidding.
Okay, I make a motion.
You don't have to. You don't have, I don't want to. I don't mean it.
It's okay, I've got it. Since I never talked, but I do make a motion that we consider this up tonight and look at, I think there was some discussion about some of the changes in the wordage, but.
And if we can get a second, we can start that discussion. If somebody's willing to make a second, otherwise it dies.
I'll make a second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. So now we are open for discussion. Comments and discussion.
Where would you like me to start?
Wherever you'd like to start.
Okay. First page before we conduct, talk about a person in public place. Well, then it talks about between the hours of 10 and 7, so I can do anything between, other than those times. Okay. So I'm saying between the hours of 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. So 7:01 to 9:59, that don't apply. And then we get over into blowing horns, and it talks about trains approaching railroad crossings. Then down in B, it talks about radio phonographs. And then it talks about in C, yelling, shouting, hooting. It appears this is written in that 1950. It just does not fit our town. We're rural. We're not a downtown Johnson City or Nashville. Blowing whistles, the blowing of an industrial whistle alarm is set to give notice of time to begin or stop work as a warning of fire or danger. Exhaust steam engines, this definitely was written in the 50s, okay? So we really need to put this off and get time to go through this and really look at what's going on, because you get into age billing operations, folks, you're losing some rights if you approve this. You're gonna lose some rights you've got now. And
Where are you saying about the building? Show me that one again.
H,
H on
the erection.
number 1 or number 2?
1H, the erection, demolition, alteration, or repair of any building in any residential area or section, or the construction or repair of streets and highways in any residential area or section other than 20 hours of 7 and 6. Gosh, guys, in the summertime, you may not want to get out to work till 6 o'clock.
Does that make me and my granddaughter can't visit and holler at the pool and play our radio? I mean,
If your neighbors don't
Yeah,
know.
but anyway,
No, but it says if he hears me, he could give me a ticket.
No, well,
okay.
okay, well, go ahead. You finish,
Okay.
say your piece.
The bottom line is, this is very outdated. It doesn't suit our rural communities. We just need more time to take and look at it and really figure what we need. Because it talks about large loudspeakers, then it says there's exceptions. So really and truly, we need to have a workshop and go over this and really figure out what we really need for the town. And based on that, I make the motion, we table this, do we have time to have a workshop?
Well, we already have a motion and a second on the table. So we could vote up or down. Or you could withdraw your motion, withdraw the second.
It also says it's class 3 misdemeanor.
The intent of this is to protect people from nuisance noise. It isn't to go after people looking for people. This ordinance was pulled off of some standard noise ordinance language. It was pulled off of a standard noise ordinance language. The intent is to protect people from nuisance. But if this conversation has gotten that on the table, I think we need to have it on the table. So that's all fine and good. Any comment? Would you like to make any comments? Ms.
Well, I'll just offer that it has been revised from, just the standard template. It's not just something that was pulled off the internet or put before you without some thought. You should have seen the 1920 ordinance that it really came off of. It's been updated a lot. But there may be things that you all want to change. And, you all are the policy-making board. This was just put before you to give you an opportunity to talk about the issues and say what the town does want and the town does need. And certainly there's some of these things that can be taken off here. But the idea was to, as it has been for time immemorial, to direct these types of things, especially in a rural area, to the daytime hours, to the times during the day when people expect buildings to be being torn down or built back up, where people in a residential neighborhood don't have that kind of stuff going on all night long. And have their sleep, et cetera, disturbed. But certainly it can be pared back more if you want to. I've already done that to a significant extent, but you all can take out some things, even add some things if you choose. Like there's one section talking about noises in your schools, hospitals, and churches. I thought about taking out hospitals, but I thought, well, we may someday have a hospital, so there's no reason not to have that in there. But there's a lot of things. There is a lot of information there. And certainly between now and the second reading, revision could be given to those considerations if I just know what the concerns are.
So
And we can make those kinds of changes if you want to.
the problem I've got is that this is taking away citizens' rights. And people, you all need to realize that. Because we are more of a rural community than we are a downtown urban, okay? And this is written as downtown urban. I mean, who all of you have heard a steam engine blow whistle lately?
Well, I don't think that takes away anybody's right, because we don't have steam engines unless
That's
somebody
what I'm
has one. So
saying.
that doesn't take away their right, but if they want to get one.
This is outdated, and again,
But you know, from my viewpoint, if we're not having a problem, I don't want to create one either.
I don't want to, and I can appreciate that too. Don't fix what's not broken. I've got that. I mean, I understand that too.
Mayor,
But
could I-
I think we can be proactive as we move forward. I don't think there's anything wrong with being proactive
Could I make a couple of other
instead
points?
of reactionary.
The question about the disorderly conduct, you need to understand that this is in addition to the state statute about disorderly conduct. So these officers have the authority to charge violation of the state statute on disorderly conduct anytime. This is just given a statement of in our town between 10 and 7, we don't want these kinds of things going on, and they can go through the town code as opposed to citing to sessions court. That's one point on that. And then another one, please also understand that this just didn't pop up out of nowhere. I was asked to review some documents that had information about, do we have a noise ordinance in it? I think it may have been in connection with what was prepared related to facilities use that we're going to look at in a minute. And it said, do we have a noise ordinance? We didn't. So this is an effort to have a noise ordinance before you so you can say what you want the policy to be. That's all it is. So you all can pass it tonight, subject to revision. You can table it until it's revised. But I need to know what you think and what y'all want in it, either by way of passing it tonight and revising before second reading, or tabling it and then giving us an opportunity to pare it back however you all feel like it needs to be. But it needs to be, you know, the will of the board, corporate, not just one or two people's ideas. But if I know what you all want, we can certainly change it. You have a motion now to approve, seconded, and you've discussed it. So you can go either way. You can table it or you can pass it and do revisions before the next reading if you choose to.
now, I did make a motion, to table it.
We need to withdraw the other motion to go with that motion.
I can't for the life of me understand how anybody's rights would be taken away from words, phonographs. Okay, well, it says radios, phonographs, etc. I think we can all understand that that could include anything basically that is of the musical, and I live in a rural area, but that doesn't mean that, that there aren't people that live downtown near Massachusetts Avenue that have neighbors side by side. So anything that would be not necessarily noisy for me would be for them. And then the steam engine, we could eliminate that, but basically it is what it is. It says the following acts, among others, are declared to be loud, disturbing, and necessary noises in violation of this section. I don't see anything about it, and I've read it several times, that I would feel as a citizen would be taking away any rights that I might have. And I know law enforcement would certainly use.
Well, if you look at D under test, the keeping of any animal, bird, fowl, witchcraft, causing frequent or long continued noise shall disturb the temper of people in the vicinity. What do you got a rooster that's already crowing at 4:30 in the morning and woke you up every day?
Long continued noise. Well, that would mean the rooster started at 4 a.m. in the morning and continued all day long.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know of any rooster that's going to do that, but then maybe they will.
Yes, ma'am.
on the second page, item G, exhaust discharge. We've all said we couldn't wait to get
Steam engine. Oh, I'm sorry.
A clean travel center. Well,
I
we
thought
have
that-
that these trucks are gonna have to creep in and out of here and barely shift a gear and get their fuel before 10 o'clock at night, before 7. I mean, you ever heard these tractors and trailers come down this cut and they're, you know, I mean, they can't do that. And
You think that, okay, and our intent would not be to cite
It would
them.
not be.
Yeah, but that's what, but if.
It doesn't mean we have to
But
do
if the
it.
officer is not.
It gives
there,
them teeth if they choose to do it.
Yeah, but why even do it? If we're not going.
If they're running up and down your road and keeping you from sleeping, you're gonna want an officer there to tell them to stop after 10 o'clock.
But I've lived over there for 45 years and I've never had that problem, man. Just what I'm saying.
Do you have anything you'd like to say?
I mean, a lot of this is common sense. We ain't gonna go out here and write everybody a ticket, but we do have a lot of complaints, especially around the village, of a lot of noise at night. And we go down there and say, you know, we ask the people to turn music down. There's a particular house that we go to often,
Well, silent,
2 o'clock in the morning,
for disturbing the peace.
but, you know,
With this ordinance, he can.
If people-
Now this he
Anyway.
can.
if people's fighting, if like a lot of the ordinances that's read, you know, people's fighting out there in the yard, fist fighting, we ain't gonna cite them in municipal court, we're gonna take exceptions. You know, people's causing ruckus and stuff like that. I mean, a lot, it's common sense, you know. We, as law enforcement, we have discretion. We exercise discretion. Whatever the town wants.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's whatever the board decides. I think the intent was to be protective. It isn't to go out and cite everybody who yells at their television when UT fumbles the ball with their windows open. There's a lot of common sense in play here. Okay, let's get to the race here. There's been a motion and a second. That needs to be dealt with before we can deal with a motion to table. So, if, Ms. Bennett, you made the motion, correct?
Yes.
You want to keep your motion?
Yes.
Okay.
Mayor, if I could make a point here, a motion to table is a motion that is always, it can be made, yeah, it can be made
Okay.
at any time. So you check to see if there's a second to the motion to
Okay.
table and then vote on that
Okay.
before you vote on the main motion.
Sorry. Is there a motion to table? A second to the motion to table? Okay. Any more discussion?
Well, just like if we think would give us time to everybody gets together and figure out what we really need for our rural communities, that we can serve the best for all the public, not just a few.
Call for a vote.
Alderman Bennett,
Can I clarify what we're voting on? We're voting to
To
table
table
it,
Yeah,
yes.
so-
And it's been seconded. What happens if I say, I'm just.
It's just a
Go on
straight
the
vote,
record.
yes
That's
or
what I
no.
thought.
You can vote yes or no.
I vote no.
Alderman Radford,
I vote yes.
Alderman Ray,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cooper,
Yes.
Mayor Bullock.
No. Okay. So that goes on the work session, honestly. Ms. Bennett, excuse me, the other Debbie. Ms. Kessler, would you maybe remember, put a note on to add that to a work session?
And Mayor, may I ask, since I had to draft this with no knowledge of what you all wanted, may I attend that work session so I can hear from you all
Absolutely.
directly what you want? Thank you.
Okay, all right, we'll go at it. Okay, all right, now, very good. Let's go to resolution 2021-327, which is a resolution to establish a properties use policy for the use of town facilities and non-town functions, for non-town functions and events. This was put in a resolution form with, I would say, pieces of paper attached to it as an appendix. Whereas the town of Unicoi recognizes that private citizens and other organizations would benefit from private use of facilities, therefore be it resolved, the town of Unicoi Board of Mayor and Aldermen that the town hereby adopt the following expanded properties use policy. 4 town facilities will be available pursuant to this policy: Bowman Bogart Cabin, Buffalo Conference Room, Buffalo Creek Park, and the Doug Hobson Pavilion. The following required documents are attached. There's an application, there's an agreement, an acceptance of terms, and then a checklist for cleaning for each of those individually have at least one piece, discussing them individually. We worked on this at our work session. The Unicoi Ruritan organization is in partnership with the town of Unicoi and has improved the Buffalo Conference Room at the Visitor Center through funding and construction. The Ruritan organization has entered into a long-term agreement with the town of Unicoi through written agreements, which allows for non-exclusive use of this room by Ruritan. The Unicoi Ruritan organization is not subject to deposits or use fees and is the priority user of the Buffalo Conference Room. User fees and deposits shall not apply to town-sponsored events or events sponsored by town employees. Deposits and/or user fees may be adjusted or waived for nonprofit organizations, proof of status required, or other governments or municipalities. The town of Unicoi reserves the right to make adjustments in deposits and/or user fees when events exceed typical use in terms, time, or duration of activity. Now, we did work on this in work session, but there were a few blanks that we need to fill in. The first agreement you have there is for Bowman Bogart Cabin. Did we add, we need to take out the sentence, I think that says parking is limited to, or we need to fill in the blank for how many vehicles, or we need to blanket and say no parking on the grass.
I would think that's correct. I think we tried to find out how many spaces were available both there and up here. And since there's no striping, there's really not any way to count. There's been no measurement done to say where those spots would be. So if you put parking is limited to paved areas or graveled areas or whatever language you want to use with each one, or is appropriate to each one of these facilities, you could do that. But right now we just don't know how many vehicles there are. So there's really no way to limit it other than, or how many spaces there are. There's no way to limit it other than by limiting it to area or type of material.
Right before the meeting started, I counted about 20 cars parked in the parking lot currently, and it's full, but it's only full around the edges. If you'll notice at the Christmas event, we were using the center for parking as well. Most people that hold events up here don't ever do that, but they could fit. So 20, when it's just around, seems to be the number, but there's a lot more in the middle there.
Okay, all right, well, this one, that's good for our next one. This is Bowman Bogart. If we move forward and just reviewing no, you're fine. If we just move forward, here we come now to Buffalo Conference Room. Capacity in this room is 140 standing in a non-COVID world. 65 sitting at tables or a classroom setting in a non-COVID world. All of those adjustments would need to be made in a COVID world. I think 35 in a COVID world.
I think we've got 38 capacity tonight for 38. So
Okay.
35 to 38, I think, gets us.
And we
most of the
probably ought to go
distancing
ahead
we
and
need.
write that into it. And parking here, that's where you were suggesting 20, 30.
On an average, but if you really wanted to maximize your space, you absolutely could do it the way we did it at the Christmas event, and we were able to fit more than 20
Without going in the grass.
without going, no, that's just for this parking lot. That's
Okay.
not including
Not the
Mountain
gravel,
Harvest
that's Mountain
Kitchen
Harvest, yeah.
or people parking the road. That was just within this lot.
Okay.
But you do have parking over at Mountain Harvest, and you have,
Safe to say 50? Without grass.
without. How would you do that here at this space because of the kitchen being gravel? There are some grass spaces over there that have been used for parking on our property, not other people's property. Is that something we're okay with going forward or not? It has been done at most every event we've had, like around not the full back of the kitchen, but on this side from the tree back, there's some grass there that you can pull into. Now, of course, if an amphitheater was built, that would be a problem. It would be in the way.
Let's avoid the grass area.
Sounds good.
What do you think? So give me a number.
I'd say probably for here, if you're looking at 25, 50 could work, including the kitchen. 50 for here and the kitchen.
Okay, so I'm gonna put 50 in that blank. Do you have a blank that says 50? Okay. Other than that, I don't think there were any changes to Buffalo Conference Room. Yes? 50.
Or what did you say?
One- We are gonna take that sentence out that says vehicles limited to, and we're gonna say no parking on the streets. Because it's not line law. so
And I know
this
that
is
in your
not line law
packet, you've
either.
got the parking spot down, the parking lot down there near the field, kind of with the field, but
And then
it
they
is
walk
also, it
up
goes
the
with the cabin.
Right, and then they can walk up the path. Okay, Doug Hobson Pavilion, I think the only thing we really wanted to change on this one was, the parking limited will be, for the Doug Hobson Pavilion, the parking limited would be the same as Buffalo Room, so that's gonna be 50. And we were gonna add a statement that said no parking on the concrete pad, because apparently vehicles have been pulling up on the concrete pad. Okay? Okay, all right, and then we go to Buffalo Creek Park. I don't know that we were gonna change anything on this one, except let's stay consistent with Bowman Bogart Cabin, and let's just say parking, on asphalt areas only, or paved areas only, right? Is that consistent?
That's listed under number 6, on 6. Parking is permitted in paved areas only.
Under Buffalo Creek Park?
Uh-huh. Number
Okay,
6.
okay.
Okay,
Okay,
and I
you're
think
good.
that's on, the other
The
ones
other one
as
too.
well.
The, cabin. Yes, it is about parking and paving. Okay. All right, and then there's acceptance of terms to sign, and there is a cleanup, there's a fee schedule. The fee schedule has been adjusted since our work session, to, there's also a little phrase in there that's still in italics that needs to get. I think fee schedules can be adjusted based on, like our ordinance, or like the resolution says, who the organization is, how often, if it's a routine user, we can come back, user fees. They all have deposits that should be returned, as long as the facility is returned in its same shape. I know that actually Shelton, you had requested that fee schedule and contact information to be put in a different format, similar to one you already have. That's fine. Okay, but is the board okay with the fee schedule? I think we took are we taking non-resident fees off altogether? Non-town of Unicoi resident fee? We took the price off. We were gonna add a extra fee if you were not a town of Unicoi resident.
Yeah,
So that space is blank. Are we gonna take that whole line off, or does the board want to change the amount?
The amounts were changed.
Oh, okay, 25. Okay,
So there isn't non-resident fee.
What?
There is or there is not a non-resident fee?
There is.
I'm sorry, that language bothered me there. Okay, we got that. All right, has the board had adequate time to review?
The only thing that I want to say is with the history committee, we were going to discuss that since they have been approved through the town. So whatever their meetings are or the schedules they do, then what they have to do is just put that time on so that it won't be rented out.
Yes, and again, that leeway, that waiver about fees is also associated with repetitive use, like routine. If they know, if we know it's gonna be a routine user, we're not gonna charge every time. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, the
Everything will be.
history class isn't going to be charged.
Oh, I'm sorry. Motion and a second to discuss. I'm sorry. Need a second so we can keep discussing.
Second.
Okay, now we'll continue our conversation. It's my understanding that the history committee is in the process of obtaining tax exempt status.
Yes,
I think we were working on that with
they've
them.
made an application.
So as soon as that happens, without a shadow of a doubt, they're a tax exempt organization, which is going to definitely impact. Right now, they are a group of citizens that function associated with the town. They have been associated, but they don't have any official status as an organization. So they are working on getting status as an organization, and then they will fit into every category just the same as the animal shelter, the with these churches, any of the churches in town, all those sorts of things.
But before that, they were sponsored by the town because we gave them with their budget.
They weren't sponsored by
By
the
the
town, they
town.
were appropriated $2,000 a year.
Mhm.
But there wasn't any official capacity or documentation of them as an organization, as a nonprofit organization, which is what they're working on right now.
Okay, so when they have their meetings or they have to.
They are free to have their meetings now. We've
Okay.
opened it up for them to continue to have their meetings.
So what about other nonprofit organizations?
And they routinely, again, it'll be up to the board. We'll have to, I think the frequency of the activity is also a issue, or not an issue, but a consideration. If they're routinely, soil conservation met up here, they meet every month, that the frequency of it, we're gonna have to look at. Those routine people that are using it, I think it's reasonable for us to make adjustments, or wait. But if Unified Church of God wants to have a dinner up here in celebration of their pastor, that's a one-time use. If they're wanting to use it, yes, they're a 501c3 or whatever they would be, but that's a one-time use to use our facility for a one-time event. The routineness of our community groups that use the space that all has to be taken into consideration, the frequency and the whatnot. You see the difference?
We're down to some interpret.
We can change it again later.
You hear me?
We can change it later. How many things are we doing? Because that's the way it's going to. There'll be people behind us who'll say, well, that's the way it was always done. But anyway, that's the intent. That's the intent. And the real intent is to open it up to citizens to be able to rent the facilities and use them. That's the real intent. These facilities, these buildings, these spaces belong to the citizens. And they need access to it. Any other comments or questions? Ms. Kessler, would you come forward?
Alderman Bennett,
Yes.
We have a motion second.
yes.
Okay, go.
Alderman Radford,
Yes.
Alderman Ray,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cooper,
Yes.
Mayor Rowland.
Yes. Okay, item D is resolution 2021-238, a resolution approving fees for rate modifications on bank capital outlay notes and authorizing execution of documents. Without reading some of the boring language, we're going to get a 0.25% reduction in fees, which for large amounts over time, that matters. There are fees associated. They are attached in the packet. It's still going to benefit us over time. Ms. Kessler, do you have any comments on that? What the benefit to the county is?
This was approved at the last BMA meeting. However, the modification fee was not on there. And so the bank failed to put that on there. So that's what this is about, to show you that there is a modification fee for redoing these capital outlay notes. The savings for interest over the period of time is $18,326. And the modification fees coming off of that leaves a net increase of $16,229 of savings on interest for those two capital outlay notes.
Worth the reduction.
Mm-hmm.
All right, motion,
I'll make the motion with second.
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 Any questions or comments? Everybody likes to say money. We're going to vote, please.
Alderman Bennett,
Yes.
Alderman Radford,
Yes.
Alderman Ray,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cooper,
Yes.
Mayor Rowland, yes. Okay, and there's lots of documentation to go with that. Okay, resolution 2021-329 is a resolution regarding short-term disability benefits for employees and amending the personnel policy of the County of Unicoi. Excuse me, I think we're gonna have a number of things to consider in our employee policy coming up, but this will be one of those. Any full-time employees of the county of Unicoi may elect to enroll in short-term disability benefits. 1/2 of the individual premiums for short-term disability shall be paid and deducted from the gross pay of the full-time employee electing to start or enroll in short-term disability. The remaining 1/2 will be the responsibility of the employee. The personnel policy of the county of Unicoi is hereby amended to reflect those benefits. This is something that came out on the audit process.
Yes, yeah, it was not a finding, it was an observation that there were employees that were taking advantage of that and had been doing so for probably 10 years. We had another employee that asked to do the same as well due to the COVID situation. So it was an observation of the audit that there was nothing in our handbook, and we did not have really any documentation stating that that could be done.
Okay, so this just backs up. what
This
we've
just
been
is-
doing. It's not new. It's not new. It just documents what our practice has been. All right, entertain a motion.
I make a motion to accept the agreement handbook.
Second, any further discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Preston.
Alderman Bennett,
Yes.
Alderman Radford,
Yes.
Alderman Ray,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cooper,
Yes.
Mayor Boland.
Yes. Okay, I think this was also an observation associated with the audit process, which audits are good for a lot of reasons. This is a resolution regarding cell phone stipend benefits for the Board of Mayor and Aldermen and employees, and cell phones for the police department use, and amending the personnel policy as well. Specifically, the stipend for cell phone usage was included in pay, but not in taxable pay. Is that
Right,
right?
it was just a
like a
$25 stipend,
extra
was
pay.
not included in the earnings of the employee or the board member. So this would, the taxes will be taken out of it, and that way that's how we'll handle it.
And over the course of the year, we're talking minimal, but
Right,
needs to happen.
and it
Okay.
also needs to be in the handbook as well.
And then as well, it'll be added to the handbook. So the town of Unicoi supplies or pays for 2 cell phones for use by the county of Unicoi police. This is a police department cost and shall not be reported. They are out of this. But for those of us elected officials that use phone, you get a phone stipend. I think for the employees who have phones, maintenance has a phone.
Yeah, we have the 2
pays
maintenance
a
people
stipend
have
for that
phones.
one. It will be added into payroll.
Right.
Okay,
Wages.
accounted for in payroll. Okay. Motion, second,
I make a motion for approval.
second,
Second.
motion and a second. Any further discussion or comments? Again, I think this cleans up something we've already been doing. All right, no more questions, call for the vote.
Alderman Bennett,
Yes.
Alderman Radford,
Yes.
Alderman Ray,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cooper,
Yes.
Mayor Boland.
Yes. Okay, item G is American Red Cross agreement. This is an opportunity to accept this facility use agreement. The American Red Cross, if I'm not mistaken, approached Ashley Shelton about use of this room here as a shelter in natural disasters. I think in the town of, in Unicoi County, Rock Creek Elementary School has been the primary site for a shelter. And if you are up here in Unicoi and you want to go to Rock Creek, if you can get through Fishery Dip, okay, and if you can get past White, well, you don't have to go, yeah, you do have to go past the old White store that floods. We needed something out here in a little higher elevation. So you take it from there. You had the conversation.
I was going to say, it's pretty much what you said. I know that we have opened up this facility in the past before my time to, like, when people were stranded on the interstate, snowstorms, stuff like that. We opened again this last time we had flooding. Is Jay in the room?
Yep.
Jay?
Wake up, Jay.
He's the one that took, we only had 2 ladies here, and I was very concerned that we didn't have the staff, we didn't have the equipment, we didn't have what those 2 ladies truly needed to stay the night here. So I actually reached out to the Red Cross myself to say, what can we do? And they came to look at the facility, they were very pleased, they liked the high altitude. They they really were very pleased with the facility. A lot of them aren't like this, so they were happy, and this is what we've come up with. This is their basic user agreement nationwide.
Okay, so in the case of a disaster, Red Cross would be able to, basically, they take command of the center. I mean, it becomes theirs. Their liability insurance covers, they do the food, they clean.
They actually stay, it is required that if you're gonna open a shelter, somebody has to stay the night with them. You cannot leave them in the facility alone. If there's both mixed male, female, then you have to have both a male and female. You need a space to have food, you need to have a space to sleep. So they weren't looking at this for long-term shelter, not really looking at being here for a week or major disaster, but just mostly for flooding, snowstorms, things, major weather. And I know Jay's the one that took those ladies down to Rock Creek, and I think he was struggling to get them there, weren't you, Jay?
Yes.
It's hard to
Yeah.
get down, it gets low.
Yeah, I did really go around because it's flooded here.
That's bad. Jimmy Irwin, is that you back there? What does our emergency management officer think about?
I had already spoke to Red Cross, and I spoke to her about this, but they're still not giving out. There's more places we have. I think throughout the whole county right now, there's about 12 to 14.
Good.
The civic organization building, so having this on board is just great asset.
And they did say that both they can call for use and we can call. So if it gets bad and I get a call 6 a.m. from Andy that we're flooding, I can call them and say, hey guys, we're really flooded, we need you. And so we can instigate it, or they could call and say, we feel it's time to open your shelter. So it can work both ways.
That's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. Thank you, Ashley and Jenny, for making all that happen. And Jay, for making it all that happen. I think it's a good thing. Okay, we started talking about it, but, motion. Second, thank you. A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Kessler, like to vote, please.
Alderman Bennett,
Yes.
Alderman Redford,
Yes.
Alderman Ray,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cooper,
Yes.
Mayor Bullock.
Yes. Okay, the next item on the agenda is consideration for the town of Unicoi to be support sponsorship for Unicoi County Search and Rescue for the Pinnacle Mountain Trail leading to the fire tower at Buffalo Mountain. I got a phone call about this. The actual written up item that you find in your packet was sent Wednesday, Thursday. Well, it was sent about the time the packet went out, and we read over it. I would invite, I think without a motion in a second, Bart, do you want to say anything, or Andrew, would y'all like to kind of share with us what this,
We're just here to answer any questions that you might have. I know that you and I think, talked through text message. You said something about the Forest Service had to be on board with this. I don't have it completed, but as of today, I have all the wording sent to me to start the process. I think there's 5 contracts that we'll have to sign, meaning Unicoi County Search and Rescue and Forest Service together. What that wording states is, by being partnership in adopting this trail, we would be allowed to service that trail, meaning the trailhead, pick up any litter, any debris, the trail itself. Also at the top, you have the tower, you have the communication site for our county, all the repeaters for that, which Jenny Irwin's very familiar with. So once I was talking to the Forest Service agent, we were discussing some things that Jenny was working on as well. And I was asked, could you guys be able to maintain the repeater site, meaning keep the brush, weeds, grass out of that repeater site to help the Forest Service and the county. So I think we've agreed to be able to do that and maintain the trail. And also up top, it gives us access to people up there, while we're working, we can talk to people. It should be hard for everybody. So we don't have that contract to give to you tonight, but we are in negotiations with Full Service. And it's 20-minute call today. Usually it was taking years past, it's taking 4 or 5 months to get that done. So I think it's all positive. And the guy I'm dealing with over there, he says, if you can help us do that, that takes a lot off of us up there at the tower side as well. So, also too, while we're doing that work, if we see a more major problem, it allows us to report back to them and give them, just a little synopsis of what's going on that needs to be fixed. So it's good communication for everybody.
it is.
So, and you know, that was in conjunction with us asking the town for, money to support us, and we just felt like that, you know, yes, we volunteer all these days and nights out here, everybody that we have all volunteer, but we want to give something else back, like, so y'all can feel like you were getting something directly for the town. That makes sense.
The Pinnacle Trail Challenge, if we have it, I mean, it's on our schedule, but we'll see how the Business Alliance is functioning, but Pinnacle Trail Challenge, you know, they can be here that day to help out with anybody. I know that's something they've offered in their paperwork. But just keeping it neat and clean, I think is a big deal, you know, and accessible. to
And we have
people
people
down
that
there.
already routinely walk that trail anyway, so, they're doing it, whether they're working for us on the clock or with their family, they're still out and about, so. Within that quote contract, they call it, there's very specific things that we can and can't do. So it's very clear what it's about.
Yeah, because I'm gonna say that's not county unified property. Or we don't know where it stops down to the trailhead.
Well, your Jackson Island Park over here is gonna be your town
Yeah,
union property
yeah.
after a certain spot.
And then it
It's
turns into forest.
But it
Okay.
benefits the town of Unifor, so we want to be able to encompass the whole trail.
I hope there's a littering up there like there is down here.
It's pretty decent most of the time on up there. There is some.
Because the littering down here is horrible. Hikers are more respectful. They appreciate the
We're hoping
environment.
that y'all could vote on this contingent upon the agreement, and that way we didn't have to come back in front of the board to get on your agenda again. And get all that lots of things
Well,
talked about.
In this letter, Your Honor, I'm not asking for any money. So our vote tonight, I know you have a request for a budget year, I know that. But in this year tonight, I'm not sure exactly what action we need to take other than a vote of support.
Yes.
You know, encouragement, support.
From what I'm understanding from Forest Service, if you give us that support, we can go forward with their contracts. We signed their contracts, they signed their contracts. I don't think y'all have to sign anything because that's between Forest Service and us, because we are on their property and not county.
So if we verbally give support for your intentions to sign contract agreements with the Forest Service for Pinnacle Trail,
Yes.
you get that in our minutes.
Yes.
You take that to them when the minutes reflect that. It's just a
That's what I'm
verbal,
told about today.
verbal support.
And it's just, it helps y'all maintain that trail, it's good PR for us. I think it's a win-win, especially if EMA is involved, you know, that was Jimmy and I talked about this already, if we're able to be able to service that and get behind the gate and do all that work, that helps our county as well.
Right. Okay. How do we move forward? Yeah, go ahead,
You
Jimmy.
mentioned verbal support, but if the board could write a short letter in support, would be on file would be great, rather than on the minutes. You with the letterhead and said, we do support Mount Rescue Team and this effort,
Okay.
It would be better if it's on paper, black and white.
Okay, then, okay,
I think it'd be better if we just go ahead and pass a motion that we'll show our support for the rescue pending their approval by the Forest Department. You got it covered.
okay.
You got it covered.
One more item also, we would request with all that's said in the last 5 minutes, that we would be allowed to put a small sign stating, just like you see on the highway, this area maintained by. And that would allow us to do that. It would be nice to have a contact number on there as well. There's some things that are not 911 worthy that these people see throughout the course of the day and the month, and believe all this, you know, time they're out, that if we had a contact on that, they could call in and it would help everybody.
And you beat the contract.
Our team would.
Yeah, your team beat the contract. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Do we, how do we need to officially go forward? I don't mind as mayor to write a letter if the board approves.
I made the motion, need a second,
Okay, in your motion, please reiterate.
that we, accept sponsorship for the Illinois County Search and Rescue pending their approval by the Forestry Department. Okay, that's really all you need.
Okay, it doesn't matter who comes first. I thought I had heard you say you needed something from us to take to them.
If y'all want to go ahead and vote it out
Okay.
to do that, I
Okay.
have that, but I think everything, that was just past what we had. I think
Okay.
Everything's going
We-
forward.
okay. We have a second?
I'll second.
You second. Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Or is everybody good with where we are with all that? Are Are we good? Okay. Any other discussion?
Alderman Bennett,
Yes.
Alderman Radford,
Yes.
Alderman Ray,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cooper,
Yes.
Mayor Bullen.
Yes.
As always, thank you for your consideration. We're here for the town of Irwin, the county, everyone, but we don't know we can help you unless you all call.
Right.
So anytime something comes up, you need to, not emergency, a festival, whatever, we always want to be looking for.
Got it. Okay.
Hope we can continue that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, now, that is the official business. Let's do some reports of officers and committees. Ms. Jean Mull, would you like to be up first as a history committee? Oh, I was given your name, Jane. Do y'all want,
Thanks for the staff.
do you want to tag team?
Okay. We met this past Thursday night as per usual, our usual monthly meeting at the cabin, and we are planning our Easter, old-fashioned Easter at the cabin. I picked up the banners from Ashley here, and they will go up this week. That is, it's 2 weeks from Friday. This is our flyers that are going out. And I've had my COVID shot, so I'm pretty good. We will have egg demonstrated, how to dye eggs with turmeric and beet juice and things like this. And we're going to have, of course, refreshments for the children and an egg hunt. And I think they'll have a good time. It's about time these kids got out and enjoyed life again. So that's what we're looking to do.
Okay, and the daily light is April 3rd. Are you doing the contest? Contest.
Oh, yeah, it's on there. For 12 and under.
Well, oh,
12 and under.
for the most eggs found,
No, for the
most.
hat.
Oh, the hats.
The
I didn't
Easter
see
hat
all
parade.
that. Oh, bleh. I'm sorry. Yeah, I do. Pretty cool. Okay, all right, is that it? We're able to work out a way
And
for
we're gonna
them.
have a
To get-
big strawberry festival also.
Okay, and we're all able to work out a way for them to get some supplies with their appropriation?
Yes.
We got that worked out, okay.
It's done.
Okay, all right, very good, very good, very good. All right, Ms. Wanda Radford, anything on planning?
Okay, on the planning board met on March the 1st. Under announcements, we have a special call meeting on Thursday, this Thursday, March 18th at 5:30 at Town Hall and online for the Black Diamond Travel Center plan site. And there was no new business, nothing under other business. There was also a discussion about the election of officers under our state bylaws. March is the month for the election of officers. New members have been recently appointed to the board with no current secretary. The agenda was waived in order to nominate or vote. Debbie, our city reporter, was put in as a waiver to fill in as secretary until the election of officers, which will be put on next month's agenda. And then there was no BZA meeting for March. So
Okay, now that Mountain Harvest Kitchen is in your packet, I think it's pretty well public knowledge that there's gonna be a little one, there's a bun in the oven. Of the Mountain Harvest Kitchen manager. She's out on vacation. That was kind of tacky, but I think it applies. She's gonna be a mama, and she is on vacation this week. And her report is in the pack. Okay, are we good? Anybody reviewing the report? She's not here to be able to answer questions and make notes. She'll be back on Monday. All right. And then Parks, Rec, Tourism as well. There is a document in your packet right behind the kitchen. Strawberry Festival is kicking up. We are intending to do Strawberry Festival. I have got some questions. Why Strawberry Festival? We didn't do Fiddlers and Fiddleheads. Well, Fiddler and Fiddleheads planning would have occurred while we were still in the throes of some pretty significant COVID. We're coming out of those more hyper frequent cases. And we are going ahead with Strawberry Festival pending any big surge. Anybody paying a fee for Strawberry Festival will be able to receive a refund should it get canceled for some reason if the COVID world starts to show its rear ugly head again. Okay, right? You have already got about more than 20 people. We have about 20 signed up already, which for right now is unheard of in March. It means we, the work last year, the media blitz worked. We're getting a lot of phone calls, so as I said, we just got like 3 or 4 in today, and probably 3 or 4 phone calls that we are expecting those forms with here in the next few days. So we are good on that. We are still accepting sponsors. We've not got our t-shirt calls out yet because we're still working on a design, but that's the next round is the sponsorship. So everybody please be there.
And I think so many vendors, because they've missed so many markets and fairs and events, they're eager to get back out on the circuit. So,
And I will say that because we have opened it up to retail vendors as well as handmade vendors, we are seeing a lot of response with that. And I do encourage any nonprofit that has been running for all of these years, please get your form in quick, because we are gonna limit like food stuff to just 2 food vendors of the same type. We want them to be able to make money. So we've had a lot of response from retail vendors as well.
okay, all right, thank you, Ashley, for that. I know that's a lot of work. Okay, police department, you have a report, a somewhat lengthy report in your packet of all of the efforts. It's kind of boring to read, maybe, you may not like to be a public speaker, but you've got some pretty impressive statistics. You've got some pretty impressive statistics. Throw them out there, throw them out there.
We've been consistently busy. March has been very busy. As you see in the packet there, I know like this time last year, we were like 15, 16 people charged. Now this year, we're over 50 people charged with drug violations and DUIs. And the drugs have been really big. And I mean, it's just, guys have been working really hard. Over the weekend, we were really busy too. Jimmy up there was getting some. Some people up there in Walmart's been keeping us pretty busy lately. People out there, some riffraff at Walmart. We've been working really hard.
The drug situation is really bad. It is really bad. You hardly make it. The rest are contacted somehow that's not having the drugs involved.
It's safe out there, you know, so. One thing I'd like to mention, and I don't know the answer, I'm just saying it's an issue, and I think these police officers here probably will agree. Where is our line on shoplifting? You know, I know Jimmy was tied up with Walmart into the night of the night, and says we're gonna have a 24-hour day service down here. Are we going to have a policy? What are we going to expect out of people with their stores? Or do we just keep trying to solve every case for them? I mean, I don't know the answer. I'm just saying, what do we do for a family?
I'm not really sure I understand the root of your question. I think shoplifting is, this is my opinion, shoplifting is a symptom of a bigger problem. Trying to steal, to try to cash out, to sell for money. I think shoplifting is a symptom of a bigger issue. So it's not necessarily shoplifting you go after all, is my opinion.
But you work hard a lot for that first reason, aren't you?
I'm almost there. I mean, we get cases at dollar store, but I mean, those get handled in second store. So I mean,
You want to share?
The observation I would make, of course, is that, you know, this town is run primarily on sales tax. So I don't see that there's an issue with supporting when our businesses that are in retail business have a problem, because that's one of our main revenue streams. And of course, it is a big burden. It's a lot, but we receive, you know, compensation from the business in those establishments. So it's a partnership. It's what towns do. You know, we try to keep down, we try to have business in our town, and we try to keep down crime in those businesses, whether it's shoplifting or whatever other mayhem occurs down there in the parking lots. And
it can be a reason somebody might want to come into the country.
Sure.
and I think Jimmy can help me with this. Most of the time when we get shoplifting or something like that, there's other things we let get down to it too. I mean,
There's drugs on, so there's water,
That's what I mean, shoplifting is a symptom of other stuff.
and most people get come here from other areas. I mean, would you agree?
Yeah, I say, let's say center out in Wood County, so we've got to get the word out, like it used to be, you don't come to Wood County and break the law. You go to jail, you go to kind of fine. And so the law's been too easy, COVID, they know they can't go to jail, they know they can't get arrested. Well, now you get arrested, we're back, we're out of this place. So, they will be arrested, and they will be reported in law. Breaking the crime, the more they steal, the more the citizens of the community have to pay for that law.
So I have a thought that went out of my head as fast as it came through.
Yes.
We've actually got people that go out with a shopping list, with sizes and whatever clothes other people want. They would still have a commercial business out of the front of their car.
Isn't that the desperation? Desperation comes in all shapes and sizes. Yeah.
Yeah, we busted some out there, out east, go get Walmart. They had fake IDs for, they, the same people make fake IDs, so they never get their real name.
I've busted people with trunks in the back of their cars, totally loaded with clothes and a huge shopping list of what they were supposed to do.
Isn't that correct? It's just crazy.
You know, Walmart has prevention control within its stores, but I guess, where do we tie it together with them?
They call,
Yeah, they call us.
Yeah, but
Walmart calls.
they don't have arrested them.
Yeah, they don't have, I mean, they can't do police report or anything else.
They do some investigation, that's correct.
They have corporate investigation. We've assisted Walmart corporate just recently. Investigator Duncan helped them being that get people in Kentucky. They were at $70,000 for merchandise and all these different places. They came here. Their corporate was helping investigate. Got them helping too with that and let them make the arrest in Kentucky.
Jay, you look like you have a lot you want to say.
No, I agree with all, every bit of that. I mean, it's drug driven. If you drill down almost every criminal episode that we have, just originates with drug. It's just affected our society. We see it, I mean, we're out there. I don't know what the answer is, but it's a real problem.
The situation happens to every Walmart, but I say, we law enforcement deals with the same thing going into the law station. And, they follow up with the criminal side, and they run, when you decide if they want to, what they're,
You know, it's not unusual for us to respond to shopping incident at Walmart. We find that they've been trespassed 6, 7, 10 times and go on.
It's a pattern and history of behavior. All right, well, guys, I appreciate you. Alderman Ray, does that give you more food for thought? You have to keep chewing on that one?
Yeah, I guess I'm thinking of the future for the travel center, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
It's in the back of my head.
And it's gonna be the same thing.
How do we deal with
It's gonna
that?
be the same thing at Dollar General and Walmart and Travel Center. Yeah, we're adding that on. Okay, you are right, yes.
I would like to make a point while we're working on the police report here. You know, there's been the effort through the town to deal with some code enforcement issues. Got that new code enforcement ordinance, and these officers have been working very hard on that. Slade has the wisdom to pick out some of his officers to work on the code enforcement. And I don't know if you all have noticed or not, I would take note of the way that there was some response in the folks from the community that they knew now that the officers were coming out and talking to them and using good, diplomacy with them to say, hey, this is important, it needs to be addressed. And things are getting so much better. And I had the experience this week of driving through town and thinking, okay, now we got this looking better, and this is better, and this got to work on, and if we can ever get the infamous blue building paid.
And it is.
And, so I want to get to the code enforcement officer.
Got that blue,
And they audited it.
Not only was it blue building, it was a half painted blue building.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we got the authority, they got it done.
Yay!
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for everything else you do, but the blue building, that's a big deal. And, Chief Slagle, I was hoping that you would mention the fact that, First Judicial District Drug Task Force reached out to you.
Yeah, we'll be going under the First Judicial Drug Task Force, it's a lot of departments in the area, and kind of work together with the district attorney's office. We all work together to get cases good in Washington County, across the city. We can actually follow that case through, and it's just good. Criminals a lot of times, and people with drugs are network, and now law enforcement stepping up to get network. And that's something we're gonna be a part of. We're proud of that.
That's a good thing. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Okay, how about the municipal court report?
Okay, that's in your packet as well, and, of course, we've not been having court, and so our, tickets are down, but what we have so far, total payments were $1,000, and it nets down after all the charges are taken off, administrative fees and such, to $692.72.
Okay.
We're gonna have court in April,
Okay.
so I think
Will
we
it
have
be
what,
busy?
about 40 or 50
Woo!
cases
In April.
that will be in
Okay.
April, yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. And now reporters report.
Okay, we've already talked about and done the resolution on the short-term disability that will be in our employee handbook, and also the cell phone stipends. There was 2 issues brought up by the auditors. And usually when they bring up an issue and it's not resolved the next time they come, then it does become an audit finding. On RW Estates Bridge, I think Lois has secured all the signatures for property easements surrounding the bridge. The deeds are recorded and all filed with town hall. The March 10th will be the advertisement for the bidders. We'll run again March the 17th. That will be in the Johnson City Press. Pre-bid meeting will be March the 30th, 2 o'clock at Town Hall. And open bids on Tuesday, April the 6th at 2 o'clock, which is also the same day that we have court. It starts at 1:30, so we may scoot into the police building on one side because there's usually about 10 bidders.
Okay.
So that will be a little hectic there with as many people coming for that court day. I have no update at all on the Indian Creek Bridge. I've made some, put some figures in your packet for where we are on the ARC grant for the kitchen. Year to date, they've spent $84,785 through February and has been reimbursed $53,228. We have a reimbursement of $6,121 that's outstanding. On the cooler, which is the Tennessee CARE Act Corona grant, year-to-date spending is at $68,351. We've only received 1 reimbursement so far, $7,800. So we're due a reimbursement of $60,551. This should be received sometime this month. If not, we'll count that as a receivable and recognize the revenue. The revenue budgeted for MHK for the rent is $24,000. So year-to-date actual realized through February is $27,362. So we're a little bit over what the budget amount was for year-to-date. Our interstate mowing contract will end June 30th, 2021. Bid notice will be in the newspaper the first week of April 2021. So we'll bid that out for our mowing, for interstate mowing and litter pickup.
Before you leave that, which we will need to get together and figure out what all we want them to meet, so we know what the bid is. We may want them to mow more than they did last time.
Okay.
Our transportation reimbursement money will not cover the exits. Is it just the thoroughfares up and down?
To my knowledge, it does not. But now this has been in place before I came, so that would be something we'd have to check on.
Okay,
Okay, we replaced the drain tile on Scott Road, underneath the road. We've spent about $5,000 on replacing that drain tile and doing the asphalt patch. We have a drainage issue on Horton Road that we've been dealing with Tysinger Hampton and the county, and we've gone out and looked at it several times, so that's still an issue. We're looking for a solution for that. Our, just to give you an idea of what we paid out this month for March, the third quarter appropriations, that'll be paid the last week of March, which is about $28,000. We have paid Carter County, we had a bill for snow removal, potholes, and salt of $23,159. We have a debt payment due April 1 of $79,349 on our capital outlay note series 2017. So far, we've spent about $7,500 on adding the utilities cost to the maintenance building and the police evidence room. So far, we're at $3,000, and I'm thinking that should be finished. And we're also paying out $22,909 to the Joint Economic Development Board. So we've spent out $163,917 for the month of March, which is not reflected obviously in your financials because they're through February.
What you really need, Uniform County, pothole sales, snow removal, Carter County.
No, that's who we paid to Carter County to. We paid that check to the Carter County. Oh, not Carter County. No, Unicoi County. Yes. I'm sorry about that. Sorry.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, financial report.
Okay, on the general fund balance sheet, our cash, we're at $1,196,774. Of that, we have restricted for street state aid, $109,000. $93,000 committed for capital projects. That's in our budget for this year. Part of that being budgeted for Massachusetts. Our restricted amount is $123,000. So if you reduce all that down out of the cash, it comes down to $857,000. On the next sheet, you'll look at your revenues for the month of February, $187,815, and year to date, $1,397,778. And our expenditures for the month were $74,136, year to date, $836,065. So our net income for February is $113,679. And year to date, we're at $561,713. We have the Mountain Harvest Kitchen and balance sheet. On the next sheet. And then the revenue and expenditures for Mountain Harvest Kitchen, February, $10,588, year to date, $88,391. And for our expenditures, we're at $18,887, year to date, $235,229. So the February actual is a loss of $8,300. And year to date, it's $146,838. No activity on the drug fund. We have approximately $1,665 in cash in the bank, and we have seized funds pending of $1,336. And no revenue or expenses for the drug fund. And year to date, we're at $302 in revenue, 0 in operating supplies. The next report is the summary financial, which breaks down the revenues and the expenditures by line items. Show you where the budget's at. And then we'll move on back to the last section, which is the graphs. Our local option sales tax for February was 119,851. And year-to-date, we've got 707,661 for local option sales tax. So it's doing pretty well. Bar graph on the next shows you the last 3 years. And then when it comes to state shared taxes for the month of February, we're at 40,375. And again, that's February numbers, which is the 2 months after the Christmas. So that's why those numbers are a little bit higher. And then year to date, we're at 243,597. So I think we're doing very well on our sales tax collections so far.
I have a question for you on the expenditure sheet. MS County Land and Building, year-to-date budget 144,606. And you show no year-to-date actual. I thought it was like 108,453.
Well, that doesn't get counted for until the end of the year.
But when I go to this sheet, that shows that the loss is 108,453. Is that correct? How much we spent out of general?
Okay, I can't see which sheet you're on right now.
County employee balance sheet, February 2021. Mount Farmers Kitchen.
Fund 126.
Mm-hmm.
So we paid out in general fund $108,000.
That, well, that's correct, yeah.
Okay.
But what you're looking at on the expenditures, that 144,606, that's a budget number.
Yes, but you showed nothing has been spent year to date, but we spent 100.
You don't show it till the end of the year. It's reconciled at year end. If you look at your audit, that all gets reconciled with a year end entry.
Well, unless you really look close, you can't keep track of it. Okay, very good.
Okay, motion to approve the financial record. Second. Any further discussion, questions? Okay, hearing none, Ms. Pressler, call your vote, please.
Alderman Bennett.
Yes.
Alderman Radford.
Yes.
Alderman Ray.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cooper.
Yes.
Mayor Bullen.
Yes. All right, any other, thank you. Any other announcements? I think we've heard a couple of times that March 18th, we have the call planning commission meeting.
Right, and one thing I wanted to say is that is at town hall.
That is at Town Hall, the Black Diamond, to consider, that's a called planning commission meeting to consider the site plan for the Black Diamond Travel Center. Okay, how do the citizens like having a meeting up here versus Town Hall?
Love it. Very much. Thank you.
Well, I think, did we not schedule the next third two up here?
Let's see, that one for the special call meetings at town hall.
Okay, that's the planning for Black Diamond.
Right, and the regular commission meeting on April the 5th is to be here.
Here.
And then the work session on the 12th, April the 12th is at town hall.
Okay, the work session for April the 12th, we were going to continue to work on
Handbook and noise.
the employee
ordinance.
handbook and go back and look at the noise ordinance.
And
April
then
12th.
April the 19th, Truth Information Center. for the-
April the 19th, BMA is back up here. We've scheduled the next
Month.
month or so up here, other than work session. Or that
And special
planning
call.
of the special call meeting, okay? Okay, thank you. We kind of knew.
But that was good.
That was good.
Good.
Yes, it was. That was all good. Okay, all right, any other announcements? Yes, ma'am.
This is sort of a report back to the board. And I want to express again that I appreciate so much the board and the town supporting our high school mock trial team. Their competition last year after they competed in Knoxville was canceled because of COVID. It just hit right in the middle of that all becoming so dangerous. And so no teams in the state got to participate in Nashville last year. So this year they set it up from the ground up to be a virtual competition. And our kids, as always, worked hard, prepared well, and they did it this year as a 3 grand divisions competition. There were some 62 teams, I think, across the state that competed. Out of that, there was 372 young people portraying the role of lawyers. And so something I didn't tell you earlier today is that out of that, we had a young lady raised here in Unicoi, born and bred. Her grandmother actually used to be on this board, and she was selected as the 3rd place best attorney on the defense side out of the entire nomination process. So out of 18 possible nominations she got, or awards, she got one of those, and that's a real high honor in the state. But anyway, they only selected 8 teams. They usually do about 12. They only selected 8 teams for what they're calling this year the state championship rounds. And so our kids, they competed very well, obviously, with the young lady. Her name's Ashley Edwards, by the way, advancing. And the other kids got lots of nominations as well, but she actually received an award. But so they weren't selected this year as one of the 8 teams to advance. But this week we got a call asking that they, or saying that they were invited to participate in the state championship. So it's going to be next weekend. At the high school. They're doing it virtually. We've got a great young man up there who helps them with the technology to do all of this. And of course, the teachers that support them do a really good job as well. So I just wanted to report that to the board and let you know how proud you can be of these young people. And thank you all so much for supporting them.
I just love mock trial. I think it's a great thing. If you've got kids in high school or middle school coming up, they need to find out who's the mock trial sponsor. And they need to get involved. It's public speaking, it's handling yourself, it's
Critical thinking is a big part of it.
problem solving, critical thinking,
Tim
yeah.
Higgins and Ted Roller are the sponsors. And they work really well.
You need to recommend to your children they get involved.
Pat Higgins.
There.
You said Tim.
I'm sorry, that's bad.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that input, and we are proud of them. And if that's it, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Oh, second. All in favor, say aye. Who said that back there?
Sounded like an 80s.
Oh, man, pointing fingers. All right, thank y'all. Thank you, thank you. One of them must have died. Okay. One of them must have died. I guess that's why she pulled it away.
It's all, have that $30 right there.
Hold it.
Well.